Wait, why? Yeah, it's not showing anything on your stream.
Yeah,
Page.
I don't see it yet.
It will.
There we go.
There's a slight delay.
Yeah, I don't see it yet. So I have to click watch now. There we go. Okay. All right, so this is where we left off last time, gentlemen. You had defeated these poor, unassuming bandits with much violence.
Yay!
Okay, well, clearly he remembers where we're at. You guys have captured and tied up Rick Bandit. Uh-oh. Oh, I missed it.
Oh, yeah.
Haven't yet.
If you hear a squeal from downstairs, Corey, that'll verify someone in your house is watching.
I'm going to report this stream.
Do it.
I'm reporting it.
Oh, goodness. That's the ticket. I can die happy.
So
Man, you do have nice knees. Your calves are good, too, dude.
Yep.
Yeah, they are. All right, I'm sorry officially to anyone else who watches this stream and is nauseated later.
I'm not even.
You're welcome.
Wow.
Okay, I can do whatever now. I'm very happy. Oh.
Well, I believe it was Armandus who decided to capture this dude instead of kill him or whatever. I can't recall whether Medic was perhaps helping and holding down or something, but he's now tied up, and we take it from there.
Mauled his companion to death.
That's right. Bits of meat. That's all that's left.
We want to know where this hideout is.
Perhaps you should ask him.
I'll try to intimidate him into revealing the location of their hideout.
Okay, fair enough. Go for it.
Tell me where your hideout is, or it'll be very painful for you before you die.
All right. While you go ahead and do that roll, but Diedrich, since you're watching, give me a perception check.
Oh no.
It's gonna be very painful for him before he dies. Is that what you said?
Gosh dang it.
Yeah, Armandus, you seem to have visibly shaken him at least somewhat. He's not wetting himself, but he flinches a bit at your verbiage and realizes what you're implying. And he finally turns back or looks back up and says to you, I see you talk with your fists. That's fine. I understand that language, but you're not going to get anything from me.
I'll turn to the cleric. Can you speak with dead?
I can.
That's a good reply. I do another intimidation with advantage. Go ahead.
Yes. I have the dummy move closer to him with his gore-soaked umbrella, swinging menacingly.
Oh, man.
Oh, hey,
all right. The moment the dummy steps up, in coordination with the words Armanda says, he starts to actually pee himself. And his voice is like, hey, I'm just tired. I'm hired. This isn't even my idea, man. It's not even my idea. I play a role. I don't have a hideout. Please.
Who hired you?
Stop. Oh, God. I don't. Please, man. Please, man. Seriously. Okay. There's a guy in town. He says, make things interesting, keep things from going to Blocky. Jarmaine, I swear to God, though, that's his name, but don't say anything about where you heard it. That man's bad.
My dummy whacks him on the head with his umbrella. You know anything else?
Oh, he says, and he twitches, and he's shaking even though his hands are tied. He's like, I know that he's easily as scary as you guys, and he hates meeting anywhere where he can be seen. It's like he always wants in the darkness so no one can tell his face, I think. And it's just, dude, it's good money. I needed good money. You know how hard it is to have a good job out here? Oh, God. Please don't kill me.
Where do you meet Jarmaine?
It's a little bit of a wear, but it's a lot of a win. Uh, every second week, middle of the week, midnight, just outside the graveyard town. Come on, man, that's all I know. He pays me good money to just keep some of the traffic dwindled. I don't even have to attack all of them, man. You guys started this one. I may have let you go. We just sort of flip a coin to decide, and I picked the wrong one. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I toss my dummy a coin to flip.
All right. Roll
No,
roll a d10 if you want to use it. We'll just say, the 5 and up or whatever. Well, you didn't tell me which side was going to be heads, though.
Oh,
But
that's true. The dummy doesn't care. Starts clubbing the guy.
Wait.
Ah!
Hang on.
He stops mid swing.
You said
I'm trying to calm
every
him down.
second week. What week is it now? Would the meeting be
Yo.
this week or next week?
It's in 3 days, man. 3 days.
All right, continue.
The dummy continues to smack him with club him with the umbrella, unless someone wants to stop him.
Go ahead and roll a d20. All right, it takes an unusually long time. The hits are making him yelp at first, and then slowly you start hearing it become more slushy sounding, and then he goes quiet after a particularly hard clump across the head.
Nice.
The smell of feces, for those who have noses, indicates when he has expired, and Rick the Bandit is dead.
Oh, that's funny.
You sickos.
That's not me. It's my dummy. He's a homicidal maniac.
well, they
Wow.
are homicidal maniacs as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, we'd like to search the bodies and check for any decent loot and money, since apparently they're getting paid
Yep.
well.
Yeah,
I'm
fair enough.
definitely
Okay.
particularly looking for any kind of heavy armor. Doubt they
Right.
had it, but just always on the lookout.
Or silvered crossbow bolts would be great.
Yeah, anything of value.
All right. Each of you gets to roll a investigation, or investigation probably works. You're gonna be looking around, right?
Mm-hmm.
And high enough roll, and you get a little more pick on what you get. Well, Diedrich, you find some coins, some gold, and a little bit of silver flakes in a bag. You don't really know what it's for, but you can tell by looking at it, it's silver. So odds are this person knew what they were doing. Coin, however, let's see how much you got. I'm gonna roll this. Which one is it? Oh, I'll do it this way. You found 20 gold amongst all the corpses you guys did. You found 20 gold, which is actually not bad in this
Silver
current
flakes
economy.
bag.
Yeah, add those 2 notes. I'm going to go ahead and add the gold to you guys' inventory as a group, if that's okay. If you want to do more. Yeah, your group gold before was just 3 in your shared group. Now, Diedrich, you had 11. Val, you had 19, but your group as a total has 23 as a shared group. I mean, a shared pile. And I can split it evenly, or we can leave it in the group fund if you want. Your choice.
I don't care.
Okay. I'll leave it there then. So you guys may continue your journey at your leisure. You don't find anything of particular import. To answer Armandus's question, no, the leather is pretty much all they were wearing, leather and some cloth. Not especially wealthy, but 20 gold isn't anything to laugh at. You're reminded yet again that there is, in fact, better armor in play somewhere. Vasilis mentioned.
Is that
This
that's not the
before the
direction that we were going, because we were going south, right?
No, that's correct.
What time of day is it now?
You know, honestly, I can't recall what time it was before. I think we were getting closer to evening, or it was afternoon, or something like that. But I don't honestly recall. So if anyone remembers, please feel free to tell me. I think it was on the second dice roll, which means it would have been the second half of the day.
Yeah, I think that's correct.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pull up that map then. There's no more events along that. You were on your way. I know it was south, but for those who don't have that map handy, I'll grab that for you. It's yeah, yours didn't have a link with it for some reason.
Yeah, which is weird. So where?
I want to say you guys are heading west and south, like so.
It could be this way.
Who recalls where what the first thing was you were going to go for? Was it the cave underneath the winery?
That was a cave or the hill with a spear on it, but they were in the gym.
Yeah,
Whatever
okay.
one was closer.
So you would have been around here. I've marked it on the map if that helps, because it would have been the second one that day. So somewhere around there. That's the southern branch. Oh, actually, you know what? No, I know exactly where it was. I remember now. Sorry, guys. Remember you crossed a river? It would have been this one.
Yeah.
Wherever, you get the idea. I don't want to click on the pin by accident. So I guess you do have a little bit of a journey yet ahead of you, but you've already had an encounter, so I don't have to roll the dice for the next portion of it. Do you continue your way, and do you want to take any offshoots? Because there are a few now that were not there before. Well, I mean, that you haven't taken before. I mean, for example, there's this. There's farther down that direction. But if you want to head to the cave, you know how to, or the winery, you know where that's at.
What is this?
Oh, oops, it's not showing you. I just realized that. Sorry, I was opening it up and hoping you'd notice it. You haven't gone that way, and you haven't gone this way yet.
We were going towards the Amber Temple. Ultimately,
okay.
Right, guys? Am I correct in that?
I think so.
But there were things like things in between the Amber Temple and where we are that we could hit as well, if I remember right.
Okay, so the Amber Temple is close to Mount Gacchus, which is here. I'll actually reveal that on the map. I don't care if you see that. That's down here.
Mm-hmm.
Did that clarify for you? Okay.
Yeah.
So how far away could we go and still be able to get back to this the meeting with this guy that's hiring the bandits if we want to do that?
Right. So we had, based on how we did before, Valaki was about a day and a half journey from here to the wine. So you were looking about to go down to the Amber Temple is probably a 2-point-something day journey.
Yeah, so we would be able to get there and get back in time for that meeting.
Right. And I do think that we said because you knew the path to the winery and you no longer had restrictions, you could probably do it in a day. I think we had determined that based on there was no more needing to bring donkeys in a cart, and there was no questioning your paths, so you'd be able to push it. So in that case, you could go to the winery in a day, back in another day, but you wouldn't be able to go to Mount Gacchus because you haven't experienced the path there yet, and it's not all road.
So if we went to the cave underneath the winery, that would give us time to spend like a day doing that and then still get back in time to hit this meeting, right?
Right. Though keep in mind if you guys want to rest, I don't know how you guys are doing spell-wise. Armundus is the only one that's been particularly injured, and imagine that Val could probably, or not Val.
I'm pretty close to halfway.
Medic.
Medic could heal. Yeah, I can heal someone if someone needs it. I have my heal slots up. I am only missing one level 2 spell slot for my weapon.
Yeah, I'm only missing one.
But if I heal, I'll be missing more. So it's
3 and 1 2.
Well, if we make
So
our way,
most of my spells are left.
yeah, if we make our way down to the winery, we could probably stay there.
I'll hit Armandus just in case before we go somewhere because
Okay.
he's heavy.
Yep.
And not hit him with my dummy. Hit him with a healing spell.
So I'm gonna retcon the time of day based on how far you were out of Valaki. It can't be later than midday, based on that roll, where that position was. So that's good for you. That buys you a little more time because it'll be midnight or so. 3 days. Okay.
Thank you.
So if you push it, I guess you'd be getting back to the winery tonight late, 9, 10 o'clock in normal time. But you could get there by then.
Is that what we're doing?
Is that what you guys want to do?
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, that sounds good. I keep forgetting I gotta unmute my dang mic because the hotkey doesn't work anymore.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Surprising. So on your journey, the woods go eerily silent in the second half as you're getting to the darkness of a not Valaki, but a Barovian night. You've gotten used to the sounds of howling ever in the distance, but you notice that the howling had gotten louder, and then suddenly it was just quiet. You now find yourself approaching the winery. There's lights on, fire, lamps, that type of thing. But other than that, it's quiet, and the howling is completely stopped. There's that feeling when things get quiet, too quiet. It's a colloquialism for a reason, and you know something isn't quite right, but nothing has presented itself. You approach the winery, more cautious this time. You hear the sound of twigs occasionally breaking, but upon glancing and looking, you don't see anything. You're not sure what you're actually faced with, so unaware of what else it could be, continue on into the winery. As you do, branches break. You look back and a shadow darts across the vineyard, yet doesn't approach. The door opens as Mardukov and his family, Damien Mardukov, opens it and is surprised to see you and greets you. Welcome, you're back so soon. You're back so soon. And he pauses.
There's something out there.
Not right in the air. Get in, get in. He motions for you quickly. Have you seen my daughter?
She was in Valaki. It is my hope that she stayed with her aunt and uncle in Zien.
All right. I hope you realize she is smitten. Smitten with you.
Yes, I have.
Treat her well.
Found that out.
Treat her well.
I have no intentions with her at the moment.
I understand. And he makes a motion with his hands like he's open and close it, and then he just takes your shoulder and he squeezes it. She's grippy. You know what I say? She's grippy. Very. Women. She gets that from her mother. Don't say anything. And then he motions you to come on in. The door opens. You guys are able to enter, seemingly without any issue. You notice that they've done some cleaning. Debris has been definitely swept aside. There's some food prepared, and he offers to you guys sustenance if you want it. And then he asks you, "So why have you returned so soon?"
We just needed a
Yeah,
place
that's
to
fine.
stay for the night. Tell them about the bandits and where we're heading next.
All right, fair. Well, be very careful. We have not seen the druid since you knocked this group out. You showed them who, in fact, was boss. But there are more. I promise you, there are stories of some very wary happenings. They are not good near Western Hill, farther to the south. I highly suggest go prepared to go any more that direction. And if you want to skip it, this is fine too. There is a river in the moonlight. It's rare, but in the moonlight it is very beautiful, called Luna River. It leads into the Luna Lake, and that'll take you south if you so desire. It's relatively good. That is the direction the water flows.
Is anyone else having trouble getting this?
A little,
He's cutting
yeah, a
out
little bit.
That is unfortunate. I don't know how I'm cutting out. I don't know what to tell you about that. Can't change it. It's probably my internet's. So anyway, gentlemen, you're allowed to have food and rest up if you so desire. So if you guys want me to do that, I'll trigger that, and it'll put you closer to morning.
That works.
Is that what you want to do? Okay.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, there. You guys basically slept where you could. It's not exactly a comfortable place. The living area is smaller, and the rest is designed to the dedication of wine creation. But you make do, and it at least is a roof over your head, and there is a definite sense of safety, which is why I didn't roll for anything beyond that. All right, you wake rested and well. You have free reign if you want to go continue your study of that area underneath the winery, or if you want to go somewhere else.
Good for that. The closer objective seems more pertinent.
Yeah.
I agree.
All right. Armundus, you lead the way, having already discovered and the opening that with some time you could dig it out. Go ahead and give me a roll for what would make sense for that? I guess strength. Wow. All right.
That was close
So
to a 1.
that's pretty impressive. Yeah. So you work very hard at it. You thought at first it was going to be easy, but you encounter a good deal more gravel, or I mean, granite than you expected, and you have to use your strength and coordination with others to actually cause some of the slabs to break open. But once you do so, it takes you, again, like I said, longer than you expected. I have dropped a link down there. And you've spent 4 hours attempting to break your way into here, and you finally have.
Medic, are you able to do anything with the stone at all?
Spell wise?
Mm-hmm.
Or
yeah.
punching wise?
No, like stone
see.
shape. Or I think it's called stone shape or something like that.
I
Basically, you can
don't have that
manipulate.
spell currently.
Okay. I don't know what level that's at.
Let me look real quick just to double check.
As the cave opens up, you find unusually smooth, as though it was run by with water or magic, walls of a cave. And in front of you, there is the very obvious sign of blood, a trail of it, lots of droplets and smears. It's still fresh. Ahead, even farther, you see softly glowing, like with a yellow goldish colored hue, as your maybe torches or just ambient light that spills in from the other area reflects off these small pieces of goldish colored crystals or something.
Well, I want to take a look at one of those kind of crystals and see what they are.
Okay, so you guys are just gonna walk in the blood. All right, cool.
Real quick, unrelated. Do we have to activate the modules every time now?
No, shouldn't.
Okay, I keep having to.
Well, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
What do you mean?
I was just
the modules?
seeing if. So like I can't see any spells, and when I can't see any spells, it means no modules are activated. So I have to go.
Gotcha.
I go to check the data modules and start clicking all of them. And I wanted to make sure there was some setting I didn't need to change.
Well,
but
maybe it is what they're doing to help speed it up. Sorry if so.
Oh, no worries.
Although I guess you really shouldn't have to keep going into them too often. And if that saves you some trouble, or saved us like loading time, maybe that's worth it. I don't know. All right, Armundus, you approach this crystal, who has lights with them? I don't remember your guys' different visions.
I've got that
stuff
I
like
can
green.
cast lights.
Yeah, and
I have a spellsword
I
light.
don't. I've got that green lantern that's always lit.
It's a
that.
cantrip.
There you go.
So I cast that as well.
Okay. The area lights up, and you notice that there's actually a fair number of these golden crystals. You pick it up, Armandus. Go ahead and give me an investigation check.
You got to be kidding me.
You know, you are shocked because this is something you do for a living, or at least you did, but you've never seen anything like this. You'd swear by it.
Well, then I'm assuming it's valuable, and I'll pick up as many as.
Okay, there's a bunch on the floor, and obviously I can't change the map, but we're going to say yes, you picked them. Some of them are easily dislodged, some are not. Some of them are cracked. They look crystal, but not a crystal you recognize.
I can see something up in the distance. I'm gonna slowly move up.
Okay.
Towards it, stealthily, as well.
Quietly behind him.
Okay. All right, Diedrich, you notice
Looks like a pile of Cheetos.
Large pile of Cheetos laying in there, dropping these crystalline forms. Give me a perception check, Diedrich. Insight, same thing. Insight's really what we're doing, though.
My perception's got a higher skill.
Yeah, that's fine. You think it looks familiar, possibly similar material as the belly of the statue that contained that whatever it was, that dark spirit, perhaps.
Oh.
I think that you guys are aware of that.
Oh, good. I guess
I'll keep moving deeper into the cave. Have my weapon and or sword and shield drawn. Just
okay. All right, Armandus, you can see that without even having to roll for this, you recognize the telltale signs of not only the collection of and mining of such a crystal, but at least some basic level of processing is occurring over here. At least it has in the past. There is or would have been a fire underneath a metal pot that clearly was used to separate and purify materials that are being extracted. And this appears to be a large vein of this amber-like material right there.
I'll definitely go check that out.
Val, you notice a broken archway up ahead. It looks like you can't tell necessarily from there, but it looks like it might be related to being a portal. It has the right shape for it.
I would like to investigate it for magical traces to see what it might be.
Val, you go ahead and roll for that. Medic, since you noticed it first, there's a table in front of you with several pieces of paper. Just rushing around now. There are several pieces of silver off on the right. There is a quill with dried ink in a pot. And the paper, several of them seem to have writing on them.
Writing?
Yep.
Is it like
Val, you notice runes, but you don't recognize it. They look to be telolocation, but you don't recognize the symbol, thus you can't tell where they would have gone. This has been broken and divested of its original energy.
Is there a way I can try to determine what this crystal process is trying to do?
Yeah, with advantage, go ahead and roll an insight. Because again, this is something you should be more skilled in detecting.
Did you say insight?
Insight. Mm-hmm. Wow, good thing you rolled with advantage. Good night. That would have been your second one. Isn't that awesome? All right. You recognize that this vein of crystal, for lack of a better word, that's been revealed here, is not particularly clean. You see particulates that had sunk into it. By some method, either pressure or heat, you would surmise this hardened amber-like material would soften, and thus rocks, dirt, other materials could get in there. You see a bottle on the ground with a much cleaner version of the amber inside of it. It also is hardened. And in the pot, you see the lining of basically filtered and clarified crystalline form. It's missing the filter that would have been used to help drag materials out of it, but you can tell basically they're able to heat it, make it very liquidy, and then filter it in some method, put it into bottles.
I'll take the bottle that's, you said it was full, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, okay.
I'll take the
Go ahead and
bottle
add that
of
to your notes. If you don't know how to do that, let me know. But there's a couple
okay,
ways you can do that.
just into my inventory basically, or
Well,
just note.
you can. There's a notepad thing, or if you go to your character, you can also go to notes on there and just write that you have under just regular notes. Write in there
Okay.
that you've gathered a bottle with some amber-like material. Okay, one of you, it was either Medic or Diedrich, asked me another question. I can't recall who.
It asked if what the writing, if I could read the writing on the paper.
All right, you open it up, or pick them up, and you see this first page appears to be a list of names, several of which have been crossed out. The bottom has a scribbled formulas involving something called emberyllium. You turn it over. The back of the page contains instructions for capturing a dark vestige and emberyllium without contaminating the handlers. And then has a list. It says, use of a holy symbol thoroughly imbued, a silver ladle, spoon, or something similar, a vial of blood imbued with magic. And then there's a written incantation. You can tell it looks to be something for a wizard or a sorcerer. And then 5, Amberyllian capsule. Continue looking.
Stuff, right?
You believe that that would be a very likely statement.
We have a lot
I'm
of
also
this
going to have
stuff.
you. Yeah, there's a lot here. I would like a insight check, or no, perception. I mean, it doesn't really matter probably. Perception check from you, cleric, medic. You're standing there as Diedrich watches you. You're looking at the paper, and the servos and magically enchanted muscles sort of freeze and clench as your hands sort of grip tightly. You seem to almost be rebooted, except it's not truly a reboot. You just get paused as you were looking at the handwriting on the page. It's striking a memory, but you can't recall where or why. Calling on damaged sectors of memory, maybe pathing down broken logic pathways. Something about this is familiar. Diedrich, while he's paused, you continue to look and see a second page. It looks to be a short note from a larger book of personal notes. Much of it's worn and blotted from perhaps a spilled vial of alchemical supplies, but you can make out a comment near the bottom. It says, if he can come up with a way to live forever, then I can as well.
I'm gonna look over at Medic. Is he still like frozen?
It passes quickly. He doesn't seem to realize what's gone on.
I'm trying to figure out why he's looking at me. See something you like, sailor?
Just Diedrich shakes his head, and he'll hand the second page over to Medic for further inspection since he had the first one as well.
Page say.
All right. So you begin reading that one, and yeah, most of it's covered with. It's blurred. I suppose you could attempt to. Yeah, whatever.
I know this trick. Are there any blank sheets of paper nearby?
Yes.
I'm going to lay a blank sheet of paper on top of this. Do we have any chalk?
No, but you could look around for something that might suffice in the cave that's here.
I have a
Is that something I
crowbar.
would have? That's not going to work, I tell him. That's
What did Diedrich
ridiculous.
say?
I have a crowbar.
Would that be something that's in my priest pack? Like, let's see here. What's in my priest pack?
Oh, wait. I got
There
it.
should
I
be
got it.
something
I
on
got
the
it.
ground.
I got it. I'll take
Charcoal?
out a torch, light it.
And make charcoal.
Yep.
Perfect.
Oh, smart. Okay, that's actually really clever. I wasn't anticipating this.
I
And I
will
didn't
use
write it.
the charcoal to swipe across on top of the page to reveal the indentations underneath.
All right. I guess I should probably point out at this point that though you were very witty and intelligent with your idea for how to do it, you suddenly realize that this would be a pressure-based system, not a painting-based. In other words, they don't have a pen or pencil where they're scratching deeply. He was writing with a quill, so it's not pressured very hard. So the spill is not. It's obscuring what you can visually see, but there's not really much of a pressure difference between where it was written and what wasn't.
I sigh
However,
and I remove the sheet of paper and I look at the regular one with my super enhanced robot eyesight. Because this is way more boring, I tell everyone, but it's probably more efficient.
Wow,
All right.
I wasted a torch for nothing.
Yes, but this would have been great and fun had it worked.
It was super
and
clever.
not
It was
ruined
super
our
clever.
fun.
I was gonna roll with it, and then I realized, wait a second, it's a quill. I said it was a quill. It's not like he was pushing down. Yeah. Okay. So go ahead and roll for investigation.
There's that. I'm too
get
angry about not being able to have my cool idea work because I can't focus.
Yeah, you analyze, and unfortunately, you just keep coming away with different solution components, like the different alchemical supplies. You're identifying them easily. You do, however, see a ornate and calligraphy type written M in a name. It looks like a signature, but you can't be sure.
Who was there? There was someone with an M name we knew, right? I want to say Mordecai, but that's our monk in the other game. Gosh darn it!
We know a medic with the name Medic.
Me, I realized I must have written this note. I start searching my database for when I wrote this note.
Wasn't Mordecai the one kid in the orphanage?
That was Milovage.
Oh,
One of
well,
the
still
names.
him.
I doubt that would be him.
You do see, by the way, Diedrich, the some supplies for silvering weapons or gear.
I will take it.
Okay.
And is there a forge in here?
Well, there are more than one places where you can build fires, and there is a pot over there you could actually melt the silver in.
How much silver are we talking?
Several coins worth, but not tons of it. Enough to, edge a sword or something.
Oh, by the
2
way,
bolts.
am I rolling a D4 to see how many crossbolts I got back from that last fight? Was it a D4?
I don't recall how many you shot. Isn't that how we do it?
Well, I don't know. We'll just go D4.
Yeah, whatever you're missing, roll that. Ouch.
Yeah.
So what's over by this other fire pit or whatever? Looks like, is it a person that's dead, or is it just a pile of clothes or something?
Yeah, okay, so I don't think you need to roll for that. You can see this is an old bedroll area, and yes, those are dirty clothes that are laying on the ground. And candles set to the side. Someone was regularly coming here and used this place. They happen to pick this section of the ground to rest in. There is a lot of blood of similar nature to what was down in the southern portion of this map.
Is there anything under the clothes or in the clothes, like any item?
All right, you look around and it's dustied and dirtied. You see a small ring. Doesn't seem to be particularly fancy, but it has the same letter M inscribed on the inside, and then in front of that, like in other words, it has a sentence and then dash in front of it. It says, "Never forget your dreams."
Mickey Mouse.
Nice.
I'll give that to Diedrich.
What? You're nowhere close to me. While I'm kind of off on
He
my
throws
own,
it at. He throws it at you.
he can't
And
even
hits
see
you in
me.
the back of the head.
He can't even see me.
I'll just come over. I'll come over and give it to you because
While
you're
they're-
over there
While they're
discovering
over
stuff.
there, while they are over there, I'm gonna take the Sunsword hilt out and just try and like talk to it and find out when the heck I'm gonna get this thing, when he's gonna come back and wake up or whatever he's gonna do.
Yeah, you guys rested again. So when you go to summon it, it sputters for a bit, and then the white light appears.
Oh,
Much to your relief, the
welcome,
sword is still alive.
welcome back, my
You get a
friend.
sense, you get a sense of embarrassment from the sword.
Problem performing, I whisper in Diedrich's ear.
You did not have enough time to get over here.
That's right
You were-
behind you.
No, you were not. You were on the other side.
It's always embarrassing having shaft problems.
Oh my gosh.
He's just glad that this time when he grabbed his hilt, it worked. when it didn't matter.
I didn't see him take any pills or anything, so.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I don't know if you noticed this, Diedrich, but those are actually arrows.
Oh, nope, I didn't. I'm gonna retroactively take all of them.
All right, you've completely you have to adjust something because you're doing them for crossbolts and those are actual arrows. So
Okay.
you'd have to retrofit them, but I'm gonna say that you'd probably be able to figure that out pretty easily.
How many arrows did I pick up then?
Well, how many slots were you missing? You were
What is this? 12.
yeah, you refill your supply then.
Perfect. All right, and I'm with Armandus's help because I think I'm gonna call him over, and I'm gonna say, "Hey, can you help me? Perhaps put some silver on these arrow tips,
Raise my hand and I'm all like, I'm a forge cleric.
or perhaps medic, if you would be so kind as to help."
Gladly
I don't-
accept.
All right, so
I have an
what does
ability
your
that
forge
lets me-
assembly look like?
I have forge tools just because it's part of my blessing. It's part of my symbols, and then I have just an ability where I can lay out metal pieces in front of me and do silver. Are silver weapons non-magical?
Yes.
Yeah, so I can just create. I can lay out the pieces in front of me. It takes an hour though, so I guess it depends on the time you want. You can conduct an hour-long ritual that crafts a non-magical item that must include some metal, simple, which would be the silver. 10 pieces of. Oh, I guess I'll only be able to make 10 pieces of ammo though, so I don't know how much ammo you can make with what you have.
Yeah, I'll say that that's probably enough to do the 10 because you're just gonna be dipping the tips, right?
Yep.
That's probably acceptable.
Just the tip.
So if we have an hour to kill, I can just create it with no forge or anything.
Sweet.
I need to figure out how to make sure that you get this stat.
Yep.
I think it's like, oops, I think it's like that. Now, just keep track, please, that you have 10 that are silvered. And for the sake of testing, I'm going to drop this on someone you can't see. Yeah, looks like it's working.
Okay, so that takes all of. Does that take the coins that were there?
Yeah, use this basically coin. I said I used coins as a description of what it looked like.
Right.
Keep in mind that I think Armandus or someone grabbed a bag of silver flakes. If you want to use those too.
I did, and that's what I'm questioning. Did I need to use that as well?
No, you did not. But you were limited by what the cleric could do in that time.
Okay. How many more can we make if we use the silver flakes?
Okay. The silver flakes are a much finer amount, so it's easy for you to use. You can, well, you know what? Roll a 1d12. We'll see. You make 10 more.
Let's go.
Can I tip some of my arrows with this amber stuff?
I was actually curious about that too.
Okay. Yeah, so you spent 2 hours silvering weapons. You're now going to attempt to amberillion them. I would point out that based on the scrap of paper you saw, you have some feel that perhaps if it's to be used in a magical way, it would need to be perhaps enchanted. What's the word? Enchanted, I guess, is closest. Some sort of enchantment process. There's the need for a holy symbol, which is no problem. You got the cleric. There's a vial of blood needed if you're trying to make it into a capturing device. Whether it'll be effective as a weapon or just dipping it, you're not sure, but you would be able to fairly easily because you've got a fire there. You could drop some in there just to test it, find that it melts easily. You're able to dip it. So if you want to, feel free.
Did we get an idea of exactly from the note of like what kind of like creature it captures? I mean, can it capture a person if we shoot them? Is it like capture their soul? Do we have any indication of?
Well, it says, the note actually says contains instructions for, well, I described it as saying contains instructions for capturing a dark vestige in Amberillion without contaminating the handlers.
So like what does dark vestige mean? Do we know what that means?
Let's see, Val, you and one other give me history checks because it'll be partially harkening back to earlier in this game. Not today, but like way back.
I've got.
Who wants to be the second person?
Anyone have a bonus?
I have a -1, so if anyone has better than that.
Armandus, what do you got?
History?
Yep.
I would
Yeah.
say, shouldn't
-1.
Mag have good history?
All right.
It's in face.
No, I don't have. I have. I'm
Oh, you already
charisma
rolled.
based. Yeah, I'm charisma based too.
Yeah, Val, I'm going to give you one more roll because of the nature of the topic we're discussing. All right, cool. Yeah, Val, it takes you a moment to strike back a memory, but you realize between this and some discussions you've had with Raksha that the vestige is referenced in some of the documents. Madam Ava also alluded to it, and some of the first town you're in, they referenced it too. There are dark powers and dark vestiges. The dark powers don't seem to be quite the same thing. It's almost like an offshoot. One is an offshoot of the other, and that the thing Armandus encountered, he appears to be a lesser version of one of those. Promises given, that type of thing, and powers that drive the world are available in the Amber Temple. And it is said that Strahd made an agreement and was shaped by a dark power. By that reasoning, Armundus encountered a dark vestige.
Okay. So they're similar things, but one is more powerful, basically. So do we have? Can I use my arcane abilities to figure out if this method could be applied to the dark powers as well?
Yeah, go ahead and give me an Arcana roll. You extrapolate that, though perhaps the analogy is strange, if a tree and its branch are the same material, then what can modify the one can probably modify the other in just different quantities. And you remember that the statue was a small one and had a small belly of it that's made of this amberillion. So it's reasonable for you to assume that in the Amber Temple, there's probably larger creatures or beings or powers that are contained in larger traps. You also, you had such a good enough roll. I'm going to point out that you realize that no containment is perfect.
Okay.
So based on and if I need to roll an Arcana, I'm happy to as well. But do we think that if we were to dip some arrows in the Amarillium or whatever, that it might help against any sort of dark vestige for damage purposes?
All right, you reason out the following. If the Amberillion is capable of holding something, but there's no notes anywhere that says that being contained by it kills it or damages it, then you don't believe the Amberillion itself is a danger to the thing, but a barrier.
Okay.
So could we somehow integrate this into our clothing or armor, as it were, to gain some type of resistance? Is there any feasible way that we could do that?
Okay, still based on your good roll, you realize that when it cools, it becomes quite solid. So if you were to try to make an outfit out of it, it's not that it would necessarily be impossible, but it would have to be very granular. Like it will take you a fair amount of time. You'll need to bring a bunch of it with you, and you would have to drop little beads of it, and it wouldn't be perfect because it'd be full of gaps, even if you did
Yeah. Well, so sorry to have a million questions about this one thing, but so the idea is the ritual would actually like suck it into the amber, right? Or we would have to.
Yeah, that's what you get from the writing. Yes.
Okay. So you don't have to like damage it first, from what we can tell.
Yeah, not that you know. You can't be sure from what's written there. There's too little is actually given to you in those little scribbled instructions.
Hey guys, sorry, I need a quick minute AFK. I'll be right back.
Sure, no problem. You can continue asking whatever questions you want. All right.
I think I'm good, so long as we take a bunch of. I think we should definitely take as much of this stuff as we can carry.
All right. Well,
How much is
I
there and
think
how
that you
heavy
would.
is it?
Yeah, it's about as heavy as amber would be. So I mean, it's a dense material, but it's not like lead or metals. So you'd have no problem carrying several pounds of the stuff. We'll say, give me a 1d12 again. See how much you get.
Go ahead, Val.
Ah,
Rip.
should have let you roll.
Well, I'll let someone else roll if they wanted to. 1d12. Whoever gets the highest. That's what we go with. All right. Medic says 9 pounds of it. So you're able to gather and able to carry somehow and store it on your persons 9 pounds of the materials in various sized chunks. This is notably more than what was in the statue. You guys are not accidentally, but you're starting to cross into several related storylines now. Little thread pieces and characters and histories. I'm very interested to see where you guys go with it.
Okay, well, what else is there here to look at? Have we analyzed everything that we could?
I don't know.
I was speaking
I think
to the
so.
group.
Oh, okay.
I believe so. I have one more quick question. Did we say what this pile of rags was over here?
Yeah, discarded or dirty clothes.
Okay, I was just double checking. I missed that.
No one's investigated the blood. I find that fascinating.
I'm gonna do a medical check on this blood.
Well, since I am a blood hunter, I'll see what I can't.
It's blood
too.
Yeah, it's blood. You're right about that. But I will point out that it's strange. So, Diedrich, you sniff it. It's pretty dried, but I mean it's a little bit gummy. You sniff it, and do you taste it?
No.
Okay, you don't taste it then. But you sniff it. It smells like more than just human blood. It reminds you very thoroughly of the ooze you guys encountered recently. And that ooze, as you are aware, actually had more than one type of blood it had absorbed. So this is perhaps why there's a mixture. When you look around the ceilings, this would probably be Armandus who would notice it. There are cracks along the ceiling, and they look to have a small, dark red, almost black residue along some of those cracks. You get the distinct feeling that one thing may have attracted the other, and perhaps the reason there was a trapped dark vestige there. Maybe that attracted the blood ooze, or the other way around. As it is right now, there's no sign of a body here, but that could have been because the blood ooze destroyed it, or it could be that it happened to just not find it and was attracted by the smell of a creature of some sort but couldn't find it, and then just slid its way.
Or maybe this guy trying to do some kind of ritual ended up becoming the ooze because he screwed it up.
We got a pile of clothes.
It does have a note saying, if he can come up with a way to live forever, then I can as well.
So, is there any kind of tracks or anything in this cave around here, that would show that something came in and went?
Ground is heavily worn, except for where these blood splotches are dried and otherwise. The ground looks like it had been used a lot. Foot traffic going back and forth, most of it leading to the broken gate. The archway.
It's just powered now, so we can't fix it or anything.
Well, no one's even attempted to.
I don't know that Diedrich would be in favor of trying to power it up anyways.
I would like to go and take an etching of the runes.
Okay.
I get him a piece of paper and the charcoal we used earlier.
Nice.
Well, and I also actually have an etching from the other one, from the other portal, and I'm going to compare them and see if they match.
Ooh, clever. Okay.
Clever girl.
Go ahead and give me. I want you to go ahead and give me Arcana. Arcana check. Wow. All right, Val, you recognize a few of the symbols are most certainly the same, and your skill in, their arcane lends you to realize that these would be called anchor runes, and they reference the plane of existence in which you're in. Based on this, you now believe you have the anchor runes for this mini dimension. Now, what's interesting, though, is it not only has the anchor runes, but the ones that point to specifics are very, very different. So you believe this one operated solely within this plane, whereas the other one anchored from this plane and tried reaching to another.
Okay.
While everybody's kind of looking at that, can I just kind of search the whole area for any kind of like little hidden niches or anything like that that might have been carved into the stone or can
Yeah, you would have found some, but then you realize niches get stitches, so you stop. No. Yeah, you go ahead and look. Go ahead and giving him an investigation check. Yeah, you look thoroughly. You realize that there was no way this was naturally formed. It is clearly carved out by something very, very strong, probably magical, but you're not 100% sure about that. There are no niches along the wall other than the cracks that seem to have come from the outside in, as though this area, this abode, underwent an attack.
From a cleric who used the stone-shaped spell.
Perhaps.
So does the portal look like it was broken in the same fashion as like the place was attacked? Is that something we could tell?
I don't know that you'd be able to tell.
Can I tell if I could get the portal back working again?
You did a very poor roll before, but your cleverness with the comparison gives you a definite direction you could take. It looks like it would need, however, some replacement materials that were crushed when this was knocked over in some way or another. Your closer inspections give you a chance to realize it looks like it was perhaps pushed over and then just shattered, but you're not entirely sure what the material is that's running along the middle. Yes, there's the typical stuff of silver, and there's some imprinted, well, not concrete, but stone-like materials. But you can't tell exactly how the composition was made. It's as different from stone as like in the feel as pumice would be. That's technically stone, but it was made into a foam, and thus its texture is very different. Something magically was done to this, so you're not convinced you could reproduce it, at least not quickly. You can, however, take a sample with you in case you would need to compare it to other materials you find along the way. Maybe then you would be able to use it to reestablish the shape it needs.
Okay. I will take a sample then. Is it the same material as the other one?
Yeah, it does look to be the same as the other one. Ooh, clever. I see where you're going. Darn. I left myself open for that, I suppose.
Haha.
Now I'm going to have to start preparing more things.
It's good for you.
That's funny. I believe you guys have explored this cave probably to its fullness.
Great.
I would agree.
Onward.
Who's carrying the 9 pounds of amber?
The 200, 300
Medic?
pound medic.
All right. Medic, go ahead and write in there that you've got write in your personal notes that you've got the Amberlian. Okay. You guys spend a fair amount of time between the actually getting the opening done and then several hours in attempting to make materials and weapons and investigating. You are now into the early afternoon that day. There is a flash of realization. The Geish is pulling harder. Still is easily ignored, but you're being reminded more and more of your promise.
Cool. All right.
So to know roughly how far it would how long it would take to fly there if I turn into a bird.
Well, you did see the castle off in the distance. So earlier in the module, I think that you believe it would take you, as the crow flies, less than a day to get there. But you're not experienced enough to know how fast exactly you can fly. And it's not, unlike it is for the druids, for you it is not something that you can just sort of just get a feel for it yet. You've only changed once.
Well, we could ask the druids.
Oh, that's a good point. Darn you.
Yeah, I was thinking about asking them if they, trying to convince them to. I'm gonna mention this to, I guess, take Diedrich and Medic to this. We can talk about the Gesh among ourselves, can't we? So long as Armundus
Yes.
is. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna take them to the side while Armundus is over on the other side of the room there, and discuss the potential of me flying to Strahd's castle to complete this mission and seeing if the druids maybe would fly with me just for help in case something went wrong, or at least part of the way.
Who's been holding the item?
I don't think I have it.
I don't have it.
Maybe it's in the group inventory.
Well, there's a reason I ask
Yeah.
whether one person in particular took it.
I don't have it.
Okay. I'm gonna check the party sheet real quick. Gimbleforth has it. You just have to assign it to someone.
How could he even have had it when he...
Oh, he couldn't have. You're right. No, he was never touched by it. You're right.
It's an eye, right?
Mm-hmm.
We'll just assume Val had it because he got the extra item too. The staff or necklace or whatever the heck he got.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. There's a lot of things you guys have amongst you. This is like scrolling through it forever. Okay. Yeah, we'll go and assume that. I can't actually find it though. I don't know what the deal is with that, unless I messed up. Dropped it somewhere?
I guess it doesn't apply, so it's we'll just assume it's at
You're
the
free.
castle. Or they just forgot to give it to us, so yeah, well.
No, I'm sure they didn't do that. So we're gonna go ahead and say that you have it. Val.
Well, there's a varnished orb in the party sheet. It says an 8-inch diameter varnished orb made from a Nothic's eye. I don't know what a Nothic is.
Oh.
So.
There we go. Cool. Okay. Good. Well, you have it. Whatever. You're gonna go use that. That's perfect. So if you want to, you can go ahead and leave the cave and head back into the winery. At which point you can ask that.
So what do you think, Diedrich and Medic? What do you think of that plan? I could fly there and then meet you back in town for the.
Give me a perception check, Armundus, while they talk this out.
I had that very same idea not too long ago, so I agree.
It's an excellent plan.
I'll kind of wander over there slowly.
Okay. Let us move
Well,
on.
Okay. And I'd like to explain to Armundus then that we have decided that since I can turn into a bird, but it may not last, I may not be able to continue to turn into a bird repeatedly, we're going to take the opportunity to scout over at Strahd's
Ooh.
castle and see if the druids will come with me to help offer some protection, maybe.
Roll of deception. I love it.
Doesn't he get advantage on this?
Yeah, I think he should. I'll give you advantage.
No, I think he actually does. Don't you?
Oh,
Or is it
No, I get
intimidation?
advantage on intimidation.
That's it.
Yeah.
Never mind.
I'm gonna give it to you on this anyway.
Yay.
Because we'd probably be helping him out.
Yeah. Armundus, you feel that it was strange how they were talking about it. There's like a part of you that is wondering why in the world were they being so quiet. But he makes a very convincing argument. It makes just so much sense. You're like, oh yeah, okay. Yep.
Okay.
The voice quiets. A little frustrated.
Haha, suck it, evil spirit.
You know, someday I'm gonna cast a demon out doing it saying it that way.
Yes.
Heck yeah.
I prayed for my wife when her tongue bothered her.
Oh boy.
I said,
Oh goodness gracious.
in the name of Jesus, let her be healed quicker.
Mm-hmm. Then how did you have her test it?
I didn't.
Dang it.
Oh.
Alright, so we're out of the cave, right?
Yes. As soon as you leave that small opening that he had provided for you guys, well, it was large enough. It's not that small because it was large enough to allow the cleric in. Damien quickly stops you guys and he says, "Hey, I have a letter. My daughter, she's something is not right." And he hands it over to you, and you look. It looks to be a hastily scribbled note, apparently from the lady at the inn. And she said a group of men came and talked to her that night, to the niece, and she just wanted to make sure that she actually got back okay, because after she left with them, she didn't return that night, and that bothered her a bit. And the father points out that he has not seen her, and he's worried and wants to know if you'd be able to look in on her,
Oh my gosh.
try to find her in Vallaki as soon as you can.
Yes, we will do so. We are headed
I
back
say
there
yes.
now. Well,
All right.
yeah.
They also, the mother is frantic. You see her start to take off her clothes, uncaring whatsoever that you're looking at her
What?
naked form and her
Why
tight posterior,
why is she taking off her clothes?
because she's about to fly. And as she does so, then feathers start forming, and she starts changing shape, and whew, in a moment she's gone.
Damien, a word real fast, please.
Don't say anything. No, sorry, I can't do that. Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
Please, if you wouldn't mind talking to my colleague here for a second. He has a question for you.
Yes. What is it? He says to you, obviously distracted.
So we are, as we have discussed with you, here to defeat Strahd, to fight against Strahd, and we've decided that it would be useful to scout out the area of Strahd's castle between here and there. I can temporarily turn into a raven, and would like you to come with me to offer perhaps some protection if I run into any trouble. In the meantime, my colleagues are going to go back to Vallaki and they'll start looking for your daughter. And then once I finish scouting, I will head straight there and assist them with that. Of course, if I die along the way, I can't help them look for your daughter.
Oh, You must understand this is not a good time for me. Here's the thing. We avoid the castle for obvious reasons, but more than just that, we don't want to meet him. There are some wards. It can be done. My wife, when she was younger, she took on Dare, and she did some foolish things, but she came back okay. It's possible, but watch out for gargoyles. Just because they are stone doesn't mean they cannot move. Some are not what they appear. I can't go with you. You would be on your own. Just be wise, be careful. You could probably do it if you are smart.
Well, shucks.
Watch your language. Just get.
Okay, then. Well, so I turn to Diedrich and Medic and Armundus and say, "What do you think that I should go alone? I'm willing to go."
How much time would it save? Like, is he flying there, or how are you getting there?
Yeah, he'd be in crow form.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna ask the druid guy how long exactly it takes to fly there, and then maybe how long from there to Vallaki.
That'd be if that would save time, then yeah.
Yeah, he tells you it most
ahead.
certainly would. If he said if you can figure out how to get there, remember the
Perhaps
signs.
You can aid us in at least explaining on how to get there.
Yeah, so he is willing to do that. Convey. Tells you that when you're in the were-raven form, the raven form, you'd be able to easily recognize landmarks. So he'll describe what they look like when you're a raven. And then he tells you, he tries conveying in words that feeling you get when you know you're looking the direction that scratches that itch. And because you changed one time, some of this makes a little bit of sense. You realize that he's telling you something that helps you orient and know which direction is effectively north. Your raven form has a natural feel for that, a magnetic north. So he uses that to help try to describe to you what it looks like when you see the squiggling worm of blue, which he knows is water, et cetera, et cetera. He's conveying it in the way that the raven side of you should recognize when you're in the air. It's not exactly perfect. You haven't spent enough time, and some of the things he describes to you, they don't make sense. Smells, for example, it's hard to describe, but he does his best. You believe you could get there in just a few hours.
Okay. Well, so I guess then I need to see if Medic can hold all of my stuff and protect it.
That's true. Yep.
Except for
Damien,
the orb.
Damien tells you a couple places that you can actually, if you recognize the scarecrow, because they of course don't get scared by scarecrows. Their family have hidden spots where there's clothing and some mild supplies like food, dried goods, that type of stuff, along the way. So if you see a scarecrow, it's very possibly a stopping spot for their were ravens. For that very reason. And he asks you to please remember to put the clothes back. they've had some members of the family that have failed to do so, and then you rely on it only to find that you have to go somewhere naked. It never ends well.
So how long does he think it would take to get back from the castle to Vallaki?
Oh, he said that is a much shorter flight, hour tops.
So I could actually make
Wind
it to
currents.
the castle and back to the Vallaki before the rest of the group actually makes it to Vallaki.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. But I'll be naked.
Well, no,
Yeah.
not necessarily.
So okay, so I guess I'll go ahead and prepare to go then. But I'll mention to you guys, please stay on the road, because if everything goes well and I'm making good time, I may just fly down the road until I meet you coming the other way.
I would suggest the same thing.
Okay. All right. Well, then I do that. Obviously,
right,
I'm gonna have to grab the orb thing with my raveny talons.
Yeah.
I'm
so you put
assuming
it out.
that you're kind of doing all that in privacy since you're getting naked anyways. So hopefully that would be kind of like a we wouldn't necessarily see that you were grabbing that orb.
Well, I'm thinking Medic would, because Medic, he just asked Medic to take his clothes and stuff.
Well,
Right.
yeah,
So
true.
he's got gear, a couple staves. I mean, it's actually going to be a little bit tedious and annoying, I imagine, Medic. You might want to split some of the stuff apart just so that you're not holding everything. But
True.
okay.
Yeah, I just want to point out at this point, in case it comes up in the future, I have suspicions that Diedrich has some kind of issue with giving people things that he has.
Okay.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, so you've intentionally separated away from Diedrich. Armandus, you see the Medic and Val starting to separate off, but they told you what they're doing. I don't know if you'd be suspicious or not, so just mentioning that you notice they separate. You're staying with Diedrich, most likely.
Yeah, I'm not
So
too concerned about it.
I would like to actually use my little psychic ability, which I forgot about because we could have talked it that way, and then Armandus wouldn't have known. Well, he didn't know anyway, but to communicate to Diedrich to see if he could put like somehow use some rope. I've got some rope in a pouch, like it's actually a component pouch, but if he could use that to like secure the thing to me when I'm in Raven form, in some way that I could undo it as a Raven, but it wouldn't easily be dropped, like trying to fly all that way with just like grasping a ball.
Sure.
Okay. All right, so you're gonna have Diedrich go over there too, or are you just asking to borrow rope? Just like there.
Just tie it to yourself.
Okay, yeah. I guess I can. Yeah, I guess I should ask Medic to do it instead, so it won't be Diedrich won't be handling the orb or anything. So yeah. Regardless, whatever. That's what I'm gonna try to do though. So I'm gonna be flying around like with a pouch that's sort of fastened to me in a way that I could get off without having to shapeshift again. The idea being not shapeshift while I'm there. Just stay in Raven form.
Okay, fair enough. All right, so Medic, give me a medical check, and Val, give me a Constitution check.
Come on.
Unfortunate.
All right, so he takes off his clothes, and you notice with very strong skills that it looks to be a lower than average penis. You compared it to several species.
Smaller than a whale's.
It's all how you use it, though.
Right.
That's
He doesn't know how you're using it.
With small penises say.
Hey, I just rolled a 20 on dexterity.
Wow. 20. You use it really well.
Yeah.
Medic is entranced by the quick motion and the sword fencing going on.
All right, so the it feels strange. You reach out for that power. It's like diving into a wild river, but that river is your own blood, and you stretch out. You feel your arteries and your veins shift direction. Your wiener starts to pull in and switch to the back.
Connects your butt.
merging with your rear. It's a very strange and then suddenly pleasing feeling. And you get shorter, and your arms proportionally lengthen, fingernails turning into feathers. As you are in this changing morphing mode, you look at the giant that is the Medic, and he is far more intimidating to you. There's some primal part of this form that doesn't like things like that that are so strange and foreign. But you have enough awareness of yourself, of course, as to not actually fly away. So Medic is able to tie that string onto your leg, I presume, and also onto the eye, and secures it carefully. Go ahead and give me a dex check, Medic. I mean, you are tying around a small circular object.
Good.
Interesting.
I thought he had a pouch.
Oh, you're gonna put it in a pouch? Okay. Well, then you're
Yeah.
accept. This is fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Was that right, Meg?
It seems to be.
He can't talk anymore because he's a bird.
He can't. He's a bird. That's right. All right. Great. So he caws loudly and takes off into the air. The pouch flying behind him. The feeling is exhilarating as you take to the skies. You notice that some things seem sharper to your vision. Like when you're up high, movement is so obvious and easy for you to see. You can tell what things are the movements of trees as opposed to the movement of a small animal, running along the ground. You feel free. Yet at the same time, you are careful to avoid the edges. The fog itself that you can see that becomes a wall of mist is intensely intimidating to you. You avoid it at all costs. All right, so he has begun his journey. He'll be rolling some dice for some events, shall we say. But for the rest of you, what is the plan?
Start heading back to Velaki.
Yep.
Okay. All right, so each of you, okay, so Diedrich, as representation for the group, you roll a d20, and Val, I need you to roll a d20 for something unrelated. Val, in your passing over the Svalich woods, you notice a movement down below, and without any warning other than that small movement, an arrow whizzes up at you.
Oh, jeez.
Give me a dex check, please. Or it should be in a dex save, but I will let you have the higher value of that check because that's enough to pass. In the future, I should have said save. Anyway, the arrow whizzes by. You dodge just quickly, moving aside, and there's a certain, again, primal panic inside you as your bird brain freaks out. So you lose some direction that you're intending to go. You don't realize it at first, though, because you're just trying to escape the impending danger. But suddenly, the smells that he told you about, you're not smelling them. You realize at some point in this, you got off course. Your journey's now extended by an hour or so because it took you that long to realize that you for sure were no longer where you thought you were. I'm going to reveal part of the map for you because, you took a wrong turn. You suddenly realize that you have hit the wrong squiggly blue river. It's at this point you begin your journey, or your return, because you don't know where it's going to take you. So, 2 hours have been added to your journey because of confusion. Now, for the rest of you, you're making your trip successfully. And we agreed that it would take basically about a day's time. However, you started at early afternoon, which means you're now at darkness, and you hadn't been aware of it at first because the lack of Val has thrown off the dynamic. It's been already unnaturally quiet. But you realize you hadn't been hearing sounds like you were used to hearing almost this entire trip, other than the occasional crack of wood or rustle of leaves as you've been journeying. And now you're in the forest again, darker, narrower portions where the trees themselves loom out like clawed hands reaching with their shadows, each promising something that you don't want. And you're at the point now where you think you might need to rest, but it's dangerous. Would you prefer to press on or attempt to rest in the pressing shadows of darkness.
So keep in mind that Medic has my Staff of Warning, which warns him of danger while it is on his person. He has advantage on initiative rolls,
Ooh.
and
Is
they
it an
can't.
attunement?
It does say require attunement, so never mind, I guess.
Yeah.
Lame.
I thought
Throw
about
in the
that actually.
fire.
Well, I can't be surprised by undead. So there's that, but that doesn't mean that it's undead. Whatever this could be out there is undead. I'm torn on this, whether to press on or to rest, because
What happens if we press on? I mean, what's
a point of exhaustion or Constitution checks to see if we get exhaustion, right?
Yeah. I would do Constitution checks, yeah.
oh well for me I'd say press on, but that's just me.
Yeah. So Val, while they're deciding, you have finally made out the foreboding shape of Castle Ravenloft. It rings wrong in your eyes. You feel it even from a long distance away, thousands of yards away. You can see it, and even looking at it makes you want to turn your eyes away. But you press on, aware of your journey, because at the same time as that thing itself, the body of it tells you to go away, the Geish itself is pushing against you, saying, you must, you must. So you push past it with frustration and anxiety. Give me a constitution, or no, will check, so wisdom.
Check
This is
or save?
wisdom save. Save. Yeah.
Unfortunate.
Yep. You find yourself so distracted by the castle that you're not sure you would be able to dodge quite as well as normal. You will be at disadvantage in any of the upcoming dexterity checks while in the presence of this castle. All right. You continue your approach. You don't know that you'd call it nausea. Your stomach definitely has a feeling that's strange, but in bird form, all you know is that you want to poop, and so you do. You just shoot it out, and you realize there's a certain freedom in that you don't know why you don't just do that all the time.
Probably the weirdest DM I've ever played with, by the way. Certain freedom in your poop, you just shoot it out.
Hey, have you ever tried imagining being a bird? I'm trying to imagine being a
Only
bird
the
in order to
flying
relay it.
part, not the pooping part.
Have you ever
Hey.
had a bird poop like right in front of you? I think that that's very realistic.
Disgusting.
Birds can't hold it. It's just when it's their time, they just go.
Pecker knows how that
And
is.
you realize it's freeing. It's very freeing. It helps you alleviate that feeling that's on the inside of you. But you press in. Sure enough, you see, actually, perception check, please.
As you gain elevation.
And the rest of you guys,
Oh
are you
my
pressing
gosh.
forward or not?
I guess we're
Good times.
Scott, are we moving on?
We might as well move on and get his corpse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
I need a Constitution check or save from each of you guys, not the bird. The bird. By the way, you suddenly are calmed a little bit. You could have sworn the other raven had told you to look out for stone guardians, but you don't see anything. It's perfectly fine. It's safe. Perhaps you were confused. You continue your approach. We're missing one Constitution save.
Do I?
It's you, medic.
Does that make sense
cut out.
for?
Right. Well, I was getting ready.
For
I'm
him,
looking
though,
up right
since
now. Do
he
they
doesn't-
sleep or do they need to sleep?
Yeah.
He doesn't need to sleep. This isn't necessarily about sleep. This is pressing your body, right? You've done a lot of things today. It's not a matter of you sleeping. It's just you pushing your body instead of going into a retrospective or introspective state.
Oh yeah, here we go. Yeah, they don't need to sleep, but they can get fatigued after 4
Mhm.
days. How many days have we
Oh,
been
4
after?
days?
Oh,
No, I'm
dang.
kidding.
I'm
I
gonna
made
say
that up.
I'm gonna say you're fine.
No, I made that up.
Oh, like 4 days is crazy.
Well, there you go.
Hey.
You turd. That's hilarious. Yeah, you did fine. You didn't even notice it. All of you guys are able to press on without any problem. The whatever it is that's been following still seems to follow. It's not made a move, but it keeps going.
Maybe it's Diedrich's girlfriend.
Oh gosh.
Oh, this is real. They do not get exhaustion from lack of rest, but other sources can
Okay.
cause exhaustion. So there you go.
Well, that's fair. Then you would have been fine either way. Okay. You guys, again, you're not being attacked. You still hear it, and other voices seem to be gone. Other sounds, I mean, wolves and whatever else. It's eerily quiet. But the moon presses up, and you do notice, guys, that there's bats that fly. Unusually high number of bats that fly and almost cloud out the moon, going various different directions. You can't tell from this distance whether they're natural or not, but they're doing that. All right. Since you guys are going to press on, whoever wants to be the leader, I guess. Diedrich, give me another D20. Val, another D20 from you as well. All right. Yeah, Diedrich, you are able to make it into the lights of Valaki.
Oh yes,
Uh,
let's go.
You see it in the distance, and it's going to be fine. However, during this time, we're going to continue Val's portion of it. Val, I need you to give me a Dex save.
And this is at disadvantage, right?
Yep.
Gosh.
Good
It
times.
was nice knowing you.
You're flying, you're getting close to landing, a sudden movement off to your left and a sudden movement off to your right. You turn your head and your beak faces one, and suddenly it goes black. Your world goes black as a rock, the size of a, donkey, hits you from behind, and you begin crashing to the ground. You awaken to a choking, like something's trying to grab you from the very inside, and it's getting in. In that moment, there's a panic. It's as though you're dreaming, but you can't tell what you are. Are you flying? Are you walking? You remember being a man at one point, but no, you're a bird, and you can't recall. Give me a wisdom save.
Come on, one.
It seems to be lagging. It looked like a 17 on my screen. I don't see anything yet.
Yeah, I don't see anything yet either.
That's weird. Maybe it didn't register. Let me try again.
All that.
Oh, come on. It was a 17. That is ridiculous.
You're in a state of utter confusion, lost in the deluge of dreams versus real. You're not sure. Darkness had closed in, and then a choking occurred, and now you seem to be stuck in a state of illusion and dream. Hands go around you. They grab you. They're warm, yet slimy. Something's not right, but you're not sure who anymore you actually even are. You hear a voice that says, you flew a little close to the sun. No, not the sun. You are mine now. Mine, little birdie. I will know your secrets in time. You are mine. Sleep. Sleep as long as you need to. And that is where we will end it tonight, because the next phase will be considerably
Ag has to
more
reroll,
involved.
so gotta give him time to do that. Suddenly, my next sense is that he may have inherited a staff of warning.
Oh, this is great. Okay, so I'm gonna have to develop the map to. I didn't really expect you guys to encounter it this way, so that's gonna be fun. Yeah, so the rest of you guys, we're leaving with you, seeing the lights of Wallachia ahead, and Val, you don't know what's going on right now. You are most certainly in trouble.
Yay.
Feeling a little bit like a rotisserie chicken.
Yikes.
All right.
All right.
Hope you guys had fun tonight. I enjoyed it.
Thanks, everyone.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Thanks,
Have a
chat.
good night.
See ya.
Have a
Good
good one.
night.